top here. So this is Referral Bootcamp. And before we get started, any questions about last week's session? Last week was buyer conversion. Any aha moments out of it?
No, I got a call on Sunday from a friend who she said her husband and looking.
Okay.
Baby. And so I was trying to go, okay, you know, what are the
Yeah.
steps? I already have that relationship with them.
Sure.
So yeah, I think we're at, well, she wanted to do her taxes first. So she did process doing her taxes and then we're trying to figure out things in the world. She wanted a lender, so I gave it to you.
Okay.
So,
yeah.
I was thinking of all the steps.
Yeah.
And then the checklist, and then I actually translated into into Spanish, that checklist where it says like characteristics of my next home.
Ah, very
So
cool.
they speak Spanish, so I thought, you know, maybe so I went ahead and gave her a copy. I just translated it yesterday into Spanish. So
Awesome.
Okay, it'll be easier for them to figure out what everything
Yeah.
is.
Very cool.
So that helped.
Okay. Yep.
So I'm looking for just to figure out what it is. So,
Yeah. And with a lot of the stuff, it just takes some repetition. It takes some practice. It's rarely will it be one of these things on the very first try you hit it perfectly. So a lot of that is just keep working at it. Good. Anything else? Anyone else try any of the scripts? Okay. So again, just kind of recap, just again, keep in mind, if you keep in mind, I was talking to Margie about this, 3 things. It's the needs analysis, the financial consideration, basically how they're going to pay for the property. Typically that's sending them to a lender. And then the third component is that roles and expectations. So if you just keep in mind, right, like I need to kind of make sure I'm always like presenting these 3 things to them in that presentation. It helps things go along. Cool. All right. So this week we are diving into, bless you, referral bootcamp. So bless you. This is a course that it's not going to blow your socks off. It is really like, this is kind of the meat and potatoes of your business. If you ask most successful agents around our company and around the world, you'll find that most of them work off of some relational type of business. There are some agents, it's a very small percentage, who can run a non-relational type of business. But I just find that you have to have a very high volume turnover to run your business that way. Relational business is nice. You have a nice return on that investment because you're not necessarily having to buy the consumer back every single transaction. So a couple things, the purpose of this is to teach a proactive approach to staying in flow with people, and like you, right? And I always talk to people, know, like, trust, right? That's like the trinity of the referral-based business. And again, after the class, you feel comfortable enough to solicit friends, family, and past clients. And this is kind of part of our plan where our network leads to referral customers and repeat customers. It'll bring us buyers and sellers. Once we have those clients signed up, then that leads into our client care system, which produces more marketing, advertising, listings, which produce more repeat and referral clients. Yep, go for it. Yep. All right. What's that? Oh, it's the air conditioning system. Yep.
Because I know it's supposed to rain. So.
Yep. So this strategy, it really relies on this 33 touch program. And for a lot of people, that can be a little overwhelming, right? Like in theory, you're reaching out to your sphere of influence 33 times throughout the year. Some of that's going to be active, some of it's going to be passive. In the Brian Buffini model, he talks about, your passive touches, which is your written communication, email, postcards, letters, note cards, Facebook ads, plus your active contact, which is your calls, face-to-face meetings, client events. And I'd say text-ish. You know, I know sometimes we tend to kind of gravitate like text is easy. It will not replace a face-to-face conversation, but in lieu of a phone conversation, I know some clients, some friends are really hard to get in touch with on the phone, that text is kind of the next best option. All right. So let's get on to page 4. All right, so this is this is the same model we go through a lot in this momentum. It's the know, do, have. So if we want to do this network business, we use this 33 touch program. No, we need to have our permission dialogue. I've got a slightly different dialogue printed out for you guys that I'll let you look at as well. Then things you need to have, right? Obviously, people to follow up with and people to call. Some item of value mailers, some birthday cards, holiday cards, Mother's Day, Father's Day cards, and thank you cards. Right. I mean, this sounds like really technical, right? Like cards, like are is Hallmark still even open? But again, you know, we don't get these things very often. So sometimes it does make an impression on people when they are getting some written communication from you.
Yeah, it is nice to get a birthday card.
Yeah.
Somebody handwrites something.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, literally like on Facebook, it's like I can with predictive, you know, technology, I can like happy birthday, like it's like 2 thumb touches to wish someone a happy birthday. Yeah. So you're right, exactly. So definitely a written card
When
comes
you
off.
said no, what does that mean? You said permission dialogue, like permission to.
So it's basically, it's a permission to have you as one of my advocates, right? Is it permission to market to you? It's permission to ask you for business. Brian Buffini has what we have is the mayor campaign. And when we get to that point, I'll give you the alternative to it, which I actually like a little better, is the Buffini mayor campaign. All right. Next page, page 5 is our network members. So everyone you know knows at least 5 people who will buy and sell this year. I always encourage folks, your database, your network, your sphere of influence, we all have different names for it. But really what I call like the sphere of influence. The sphere of influence should be somewhere between 150 to 250. Anything bigger than 250, really, it starts becoming a phone book. You know, psychologists have done these studies on networks and like communities where once you get over a certain number, people lose touch, right? Within that community, you will find that there's stickiness. Like, and I always tell people, like, what is someone who would be in my network, in my sphere? Hey, Elodie.
Hi, I'm sorry, I'm late.
No worries. So someone who would be in your, and we have lunch in the kitchen if you want some.
Okay, sure.
Is it raining yet?
Yes.
Okay. So someone who would be in your network would be someone who, and I always give this example, if you ran into them at the grocery store, you could carry on a conversation with them about family, occupation, recreation, dreams. So like they talk about advocates, you know, people who know you, like you, they're evangelical about you, but that's really rare, but they're great people. Wouldn't do business with anyone but you, and wouldn't have anyone they know do business with anyone but you. Margie and I were talking this morning about a book, Blink. It's Malcolm Gladwell. He kind of talks about people in your life, people in your sphere. And there are certain people who, you know, they're always telling you about services. They're telling you about goods you should be using. There's other people in your life who, like, if you're going to buy, I use the example like a dishwasher, right? There's people you go to, you know, they've already researched, or they will research in 5 minutes. So there are some of these advocates in your database who you will find, it's a small portion of them, but once you turn them on, they will go out and find business for you because they know you, like you, trust you, and they want to see you succeed. but a lot of times you don't know who these people are and you don't engage them until you ask, right? And that's where some of this, the mayor campaign or the permission dialogue is important with your database. You're also going to have family, friends, acquaintances in this network, people who know you, people who like you, given the opportunity, they would do business with you, and potentially given the opportunity, they may refer you. Past and present working relationships, buyers, sellers, FSBOs, and participants in all listing and buyer conversations. So there are some opportunities that happen that, you know, you lose the business, right? Like someone goes and buys a for sale by owner without you, buys a new home without you, or, you know, decides to stay put, right? They don't want to list anymore. They don't want to buy anymore. We still want to make sure that though we turn these people into sphere members potentially, right? And that's where when we talk like in the buyer conversion class, as well as in the listing conversion class, there's things that we want to teach people and tell them in our presentation. And a lot of that is to help build that working relationship so that you will get referrals from them, even if you aren't doing business with them. Any questions about this so far? Thoughts on people in your database? Have you guys started getting your database together? Yep. Take one and pass down. Do you have a booklet?
No, I mean,
Okay, I'll get you one.
thank you.
Yep. So ignore the first 2 pages for right now. If you skip to the 3rd page, this is, and I've given many of you all this, this is the Tom Ferry memory jogger. So when you are thinking about adding people to your sphere of influence client list, and again, this is really old. Like, I think there's someone who's, you know, who do you get your DVDs from? But this will give you some ideas of people who should be on your list. And sometimes we don't think about it, but there are people in our sphere who are like other businesses, right? There's other businesses that rely on generating business just like we do. And some of those people are really good to engage with because, you know, they appreciate the fact that you would be helping them grow their business. They're going to reciprocate and help you grow your business. So I'll leave you with that. All right, so the 33 touch program. So one thing is consistent mailers. So within this program, they're looking at 16 different mailers per year. And some people go with 12, right, for each month. And I'm fine either way. They like to kind of, when you are first starting out, is to kind of get some mailings going early and kind of doubling up some of the mailings early on. So the mailer must be professional in appearance, be of value to the recipient, and be consistent. They look at like doing a 21-day plan every 3 weeks. Monthly is fine too. I think 12 months. So that would cut this program down to a 29 touch program, but 33 sounds better. All right. So professional in appearance, what does that mean? You know, basically, you know, I would say like with a professional house, printing house doing it, you can buy, you know, at Staples, Home Depot, or not, Office Depot, like pre-printed cards, print it yourself. I just don't think that they come off as, you know, professional in appearance. Value to the recipient. So I'm kind of a postcard marketing snob on this. I always say to agents, like, look, like, give them content they can't Google. Give them content that is yours, that is unique. You know, recipe cards are okay. It definitely creates some brand awareness. I'm just not a huge fan because it doesn't really tell my customer really what value I can bring to them. You know, it works for some folks, again, the consistency level. But what I find throughout their business though, is sometimes they are missing some chunks with their clients. That, you know, if they've been marketing for 3 years, really kind of how they do their business. That maybe they could have converted some more clients.
Hey, Joe, I have a
Yep.
question about this. Something that's popped up in my mind. Many of us are bilingual or multilingual. Is it legal to target certain demographics and send out mailer in Spanish only, for example, or Nepali only in my case, or Filipino and so forth? Is that legal or that's kind of discriminatory the way it appears?
Yeah, so you can, I mean, based on your marketing, you can contact whomever you want. And put it in the language that, you know, you see fit for them. So yes, it is. It's when you become, you know, and I guess where in a lot of in the real estate courses we go through, it's when it becomes exclusionary. And that's typically around, you know, real estate property marketing, when you are only giving certain information to certain demographics, and not others. The way I look at it, within your database, right? Like you're marketing to your database, you're not really excluding everyone because everyone in there is in the same group. I think you're trying to deliver your message as best as they can hear it, listen to it, read it. So no, I wouldn't say that would be any violation or any issue. Yeah.
Well, that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you wouldn't send specialty cards to everybody.
Well, for efficiency, it makes sense to send this, like if you got a database of 250, for efficiency's sake, it's really easy to send the same card to the same 250, right? To segment it out, yeah, it could make sense. You know, if you've got a third who speak Nepalese, a third who speak Spanish, and a third who speak English, maybe separating it, it just becomes a little more work to do that. So examples of proven mailers, and I'll give you some other things to put in here. My opinion is the best mailer you can ever put in someone's mailbox is going to be a just listed, coming soon, or open house invite card. And the reason why is you've actually, like when I get a home postcard that's advertising a home, I know exactly this is real estate right off the bat. I don't have to read too much into this card. So I instantly understand industry, what it is. Secondarily, as a real estate agent, it promotes my brand, right? And in a sense, my success, because I've gotten a listing. Most folks assume if you've gotten a listing, you'll probably sell it. And then the third thing is it supports my client who I'm currently working for, lets them know that I'm pushing out their product. So it touches a couple different areas for marketing that really work. That's easy enough said if you have a listing, right? Those make sense. But again, I would always say, like, if you had a choice of sending out, let's say like a set your clocks forward last weekend, whatever, or sending out a just listed card, I'd say your just listed card is going to be 10 times more powerful for your branding and marketing. Okay, so if you don't have a just listed card, and I lump those three together, just listed, coming soon, open house invite, because they all promote a product that is either live or going to be live. And the way I look at it is when I go to do my listing presentation with these clients who've gotten my card over the years, is that when I start talking about my coming soon campaign, my open house that I do for their house, that they're like, yes, we've gotten one of those coming soon postcards. That's what he means by that. Yes, we've gotten his open house postcards as well. The just listed is the easiest card. The coming soon and the open house invite, you need, there's a little bit of lead time you need on the marketing to make sure that the postcard isn't hitting their mailboxes, 3 weeks after the home's already been on the market.
Again, this is in reference to mailer. It has become nuisance getting, too many, paper junk in the mail today. I don't know your experience in this room, but when I collect my mails, without even looking at it, I have tendency of tossing them to recycle bin.
Yep.
In my garage.
Yeah.
I check, and by now, we all know which one is marketing tool, paper versus, serious mail. So based on your experience, what is the likelihood, percentage-wise, of people
Yeah.
that we send out mail to would open in real sense and reading? 10%, 20%?
So, and some depends on the audience too, right? So the reason why, like with these mailing campaigns, I'm only sending it to people who, again, kind of fit that know, like, trust category. That if they did get my card and they're on their way to the mail bin, I'm sorry, the trash bin, that maybe they see my information and they pause just a split second longer than they did for the roof, the insurance agent who they don't know, right? The landscaping company. So that's the philosophy, and so I think actually the conversion rate on bulk mailing, I think it's like a 0.001%. It's really low, right? But I'd say with your sphere of influence, I think it would probably be much higher than that. I think you'd probably be looking at like probably a 10%.
Getting back to my original question.
Uh-huh.
I wanted to customize my mailer such that people feel kind of ownership to that mail. When they see not English, not Spanish, but their native language,
Uh-huh.
Native language written in it.
Yep.
People feel, because at least in my experience of last 30 years, we always got junk mail or marketing mail or whatever you call it. But never got such customized mail in customary language.
Mhm.
So if I go that route, people could, oh my God, we don't get such mail in everyday basis.
Yeah.
Might as well see, open, whatever.
Yes. Yeah.
Just to make them feel, I don't know,
Well,
this
something
meant to
else.
be
They'll
for
be
me,
curious.
ownership.
Yeah.
Who the heck
Yeah.
goes by that?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yep. So after your property cards, people send out just sold cards, which work too, show branding and success. What happens with most real estate agents is they're so late in their marketing plan, the only option they have is sending out a just sold card. So I just encourage you guys, get ahead of your marketing plan so you can do a just listed coming soon or open house invite card. After that, just sold. And then other cards to send out to people is, hey, I'm looking for a certain client. We're looking for a single family in the Olney, Brookville, Ashton, Sandy Spring area between 700 to 800. If you know of anybody, this is a card I'll send out to my database from time to time because I want to activate them into how I do my business and B, hopefully maybe they have someone. But I also want to make sure that they know what I'm doing is I'm trying to plant a seed that when they go to call me in to list their house, and they've been looking on Zillow the last 3 months, they can't find anything. That hopefully they're calling me because they know that, hey, maybe he will do that same card he did for Sandy and Dan to find us a property. Other cards, and Margie and I were talking about this today, the 3 other cards that work really well to tell them about how you do your business is how you work with investment property. Again, this is one of the areas that I find that even if you are ingrained in your database as a great residential agent, they will not call you for investment properties. Secondly, is going to be out of state, out of country referrals, right? Client buys in North Carolina picked an agent off of Zillow. You could have found them a great real estate agent, but they just didn't know. And then the last thing is going to be new home construction. anytime you can make sure you educate your database ahead of time, what happens is they don't realize you can do new home construction until they've written the contract and they tell you to come over and list their house. And then you're like, So investment, referral, and new home construction. And then if you don't have any of those listings just sold, have a buyer looking for, or those three type of properties, then you can kind of get into this example of other proven mailers.
So
Yes.
out of what you just listed, we have a buyer interested in your property, in your residential property in particular. What kind of, what is the motive behind it? Just to get the opinion of potential seller of the house, or, I get too many of those. Okay, we have, buyer waiting to buy a property in your neighborhood, in your development, or your house will pay you cash. I understand, will pay you cash.
Yep.
They want to make some money right there, okay? But we have a buyer if you are interested to sell your property. Is that something serious?
So what you're getting, and again, I know where you live, so you are in a very hyper-focused neighborhood that people are trying to find that move up house. It fits a lot of, and it's based on the age of the neighborhood. There's a high turnover. There's a lot of agents who have like targeted your neighborhood. So are they serious? Potentially, yeah. I think probably serious. Just like if you pulled our office, if anyone had a buyer for your house, I bet you'd find at least 10 to 20 agents in here who probably have a buyer who would offer you a cash deal. They wouldn't be buying it cash. They would offer you a no finance contingency, which is kind of a cash offer. So, and again, that's more of a neighborhood focused communication, as opposed to what I'm trying to do is take my network of people and say like, hey, like, even though you live in Silver Spring, you may work at an elementary school and one of your coworkers lives in Brookville who I don't know, and she may have been talking about listing her home that fits that need, right? Like, so I'm trying to engage my database in how I do my business. It's slightly different in than what you're looking at, because I think what you're getting is very much because you live in this neighborhood, you're getting this email or you're getting this communication.
Those kind of mail, I get electronically too.
Yep.
Text messages.
Yep.
Email. And by the way, just for your kind information, not necessarily for my resident, but I have property here in Hollowell. I get tons. I don't think this is attractive house by any means.
Yeah.
So I thought it's kind of scam, not a scam, but
I think it's probably got a lot of legitimacy.
Yeah, there's some legitimacy, but there's also some look. Like if you have a house in Hollowell, like, and you told me like, basically I could find you a buyer, even if I don't have a buyer right now. Like
Exactly.
literally, like I could find you a buyer real quick for any
Yeah.
property, pretty much.
Doesn't matter how it looks.
and it becomes a matter of impulse for me, of course, my resident, I went to live there, for many years to come, unless something serious happens. But, other properties, when I get those mail, okay, we have buyer standing by, pay cash and so forth.
Yep.
Sometimes I feel like giving them a call back. Although I have tenant living there, if I get a super good deal, might as well sell it and move on, right?
Well,
And it has seriously happened.
oh yeah, no, I don't doubt it. And that's a marketing tactic because yeah, I mean, you're like, well, if I could get a great price, why not call them? Right. And then what their hope is that, well, maybe they don't have a buyer who's actually going to buy it, but now they've got a listing, right? Now they've got a contact from
That's
someone.
what we are at.
Even if they did have, well, let's say they did have a serious buyer for you. I mean, just as a seller,
Mhm.
my philosophy in this marketplace is like, you stand a much better chance getting a much better offer by going to market than you do doing an off-market deal. I just and Bright just did a study. I'm gonna bring it back up. We're gonna do our trends analysis over the next couple of weeks on our Tuesday call. But I think they were saying like there was like a 17% decrease in your, you know, in your net when you went with a off-market offer versus MLS. So again, I as a seller, I don't think it's in your best interest to just work with a marketplace of one.
Supply and demand won't work when you go off market, but when you come to the market officially.
Yeah.
There are low inventory and high demand. So
Yeah, and there are times in the marketplace where sometimes it's like, okay, well, you know, that balance is maybe closer to even, then maybe taking an off-market deal works really well. In this marketplace, I think most sellers would stand to do much, much better. Like we just had a property we put on Thursday. Saturday, we get an offer. It's $25,000 over list price. But if we take it on Saturday, if we take their offer on Saturday, they'll give us another 10,000. So my client's like, oh, like, you know, it would be, I mean, it's brilliant, right? Like marketing, because my client's like worried, like if I wait till after Saturday, I could have lost $10,000. Like there was this fear, we were talking about this fear of loss, right? And she really poured over it. And I'm like, tried to give her the data, like, look, we've got 41 showings, right? We've got 4 other agents who are asking for information, telling me they're going to write. Will they materialize? I don't know. The likelihood that at least 2 of them would, yes. We know what the house up the street sold for. It sold for more than this, you know, and she decided to just wait. And the offer she's taking right now is 75,000 over list, not 35. So there was a benefit to waiting. And the second place offer was 50,000 over. So it wasn't like this was second place, right? This came in 4th place out of all the offers we had. So some of that is that, you know, good marketers and good agents will sometimes get you in that position where it's like, okay, this sounds like a great deal. I got to take it now, kind of thing. So long story to a short question, I guess. Okay, getting back, consistent mailers, other things, you know, home ownership tips and articles, sometimes making those seasonal. Newsletters containing just solds for the month, right? Your sales price to list price ratio, your average days on market, average days to close, book of the month, recipe of the month, quote of the month, any inspirational stories, real estate articles. You can even promote one of your clients. I know some people have worked on doing like client Facebook groups for their spheres and then promoting their clients within there. Baseball schedules, football schedules, school calendars. Literally, school calendars is one of like my favorite mailers I send out to my database. My clients love it. They keep it on their fridge. It's the only like magnet that they keep on their fridge. Let me see. Okay, any questions on that? So consistent mailers. Again, this is not rocket science. There are companies out there that will do this for you for cheap. Again, I tend to work with a designer who will make it a little more personalized and make it look a little more different. What's that? Oh, tier 1 agents should not consider monthly newsletters. So what they talk about tier 1 agents, monthly newsletters can take a lot of effort to do. And I don't recommend a printed monthly newsletter anyways. I recommend doing electronic monthly newsletter. Like the Bouge one is pretty good. You can customize it. You can add in kind of what I say is like, make it like your best of the month. Like if you've gotten a couple good posts that you put up, like put those into your newsletter or a good article you read. Yep.
What they meant, tier one is,
So tier one agent is,
positive connection.
yeah, so tier one agent is kind of a single
Okay.
agent.
Oh, okay.
Yep, single agent. So it's kind of the reverse, as you might think, like a tier 5 would be a really big team,
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
where they have a marketing
So
coordinator,
we are considered a tier one.
most likely a tier 1, because you don't have admin staff who would do. What happens is I've got some agents who spend like the whole month trying to get their newsletter together. It's got 6, 7 really good articles, but by the time they get it out, it's the articles of, it's how to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, right? Like it's worthless right now. So, all right, other touches. So, and again, this is really simple stuff. Birthday cards. These are good ones. Mother's Day, Father's Day cards, holiday cards. And here's, I was talking to a friend from Louisiana, and he always sends out Mardi Gras cards, right? And I've talked to some agents who send out kind of almost like everyone's like, oh yeah, you send out a Christmas card or Hanukkah, New Year's card, right? Well, that's when we typically get most of our cards, right? And he was like, no, I try to send them in that, not a weird holiday, but just that not normal holiday, right? That you would rarely get, like a Mardi Gras card or a 4th of July card or a Groundhog Day card, right? Like, and it could be your thing, right? Like, oh, Margie, she's the like they're waiting for their Groundhog Day card, right?
I'm gonna do it now.
Yeah.
I'll send it to all of you.
And some people, like, you'll see like on Facebook now we have like I don't know what's today, like a double cheeseburger day, right? Like there's always some like day going on. Like you could pick a day that just screams your personality and make that your thing and send your clients a card wishing them a happy double cheeseburger day.
Is there any analysis done on Facebook marketing? How effective, how powerful those are?
So as far as like a closed ratio,
Open.
yes, absolutely. Yeah. So on your business page, you can track your reach and clicks, as well as if you post videos, you can track viewership. You can track when they stopped viewing, how many people viewed all the way through. You could actually, so in Facebook's, and we'll going off on a tangent here, but Facebook's got some tools where you can build a custom audience. So let's say you have a new listing, you post a walkthrough video on it. You post that video on your business page. Based on, let's say you had 300 viewers, right? And of those 300 viewers, 50 of them watched past the 10-second mark. And that's kind of what we use as like the gauge, right? Like some people, they'll watch a video for 10 seconds and it's like, or 9 seconds and they click off of it, right? Like it's like riding, it's like the rodeo, right? Like if you can keep them on for like, was it 6 seconds, right? Like that's when you get them. So you can create an audience of viewers who watch past the 10-second mark, that 50, right? Now your next ad, you can target just at those 50 with the assumption that if I've watched this video longer than 10 seconds, I must be very engaged with real estate right now. So instead of wasting my marketing money shooting at these 150 other people who only kind of were there for just the intro, I'm going to market to these 50, right? So what I've seen some agents do is they'll run a couple different ads on Facebook, create that kind of very interested group, and then run the ads at that very interested group to see if they can get that group to move. Yeah, you thought Facebook was free, right? It always comes at a price, right? And it's the data we're giving, right? As viewers and as users, we are giving them data all day long as far as how we interact with TikTok, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn. And they use all that to sell it back to marketers like ourselves. Did that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you are good social media network, handle.
Yeah, I know I'm enough to be dangerous, but not good enough to be successful yet. So,
Well, you're trying.
yeah.
That's good.
Okay. Thank you and thinking of you cards. So a client sends you a referral, you should send them a thank you card, right? I mean, it just makes sense. I typically will give my clients, anytime they refer me someone, I'll give them a $5 gift card just for the referral. If they close, I wind up sending them a gift too. Thinking of you cards are good when, you know, you haven't heard from a person in a while. Sometimes also send cards after I've had a conversation with someone. And let's say like, you know, they told me something and it was, you know, personal. And I just felt like I just needed to like thank them for sharing something or some type of follow-up. So what you'll find is that you make phone touches, which is the next one, you'll also generate some cards out of those touches. Telephone calls, quarterly phone calls to your database. And a lot of the times, if you're marketing to them, these calls become very easy. If you're in flow with them, these calls become very easy. When these calls become really hard is I haven't touched base with them in like 4 years, right? Like they've had 2 funerals and 4 weddings since then, and I haven't dropped a note, right? And here I am, like, got my real estate license and
Selfish.
They haven't
Yeah.
called you either.
yeah, right. Exactly. So this is where, like, if you've been, you know, you've been sending them stuff, it usually gives you a little bit of an excuse, like, hey, did you get, you know, my letter I sent or my card or my postcard? Just want to see how things are going. Right. It just gives you a little bit of a foot in the door. A couple other things I'll have you guys add to this list of things that if you want to send. So we talked a lot about what content you can do with the postcards. Any of your past clients, they're HUD 1. So, or their CD, right? Their closing disclosure. So anytime you sell a property for tax purposes, the next year they'll need that closing disclosure. HUD 1 or CD closing disclosure.
What about CD again?
So any of your 2022 clients who you sell a property for, at the beginning of 23, I will send them a copy of their closing disclosure so they have it. So when their accountant's typically going to ask them, oh, did you sell a property? Yes. Or did you buy a property? And they're going to ask for the closing disclosure to see if there's anything on there for tax purposes. A couple other things, yearly CMA. Especially right now in this marketplace, any of your clients, anyone in your database who owns a home, like, you're just delivering them great news, right? Like, I think the average home appreciated like $56,000 in 2021. So most cases, you're always delivering good news about what their home value's done. And especially for y'all who are, you know, getting back into the business, getting active in the business, the better you are at CMAs. I mean, it's a skill that you will need all day long, every day in your business. So the better you get at it, it's one of those things like, right, like getting really good at sending out like birthday cards to my clients doesn't necessarily make me a better real estate agent. Sending out CMAs, it's a good touch, but it also makes me a better real estate agent. So
That'd be something we can send out now.
oh yeah, anytime.
So I just send out my announcements.
Yeah.
So send out.
Yeah. So what a lot of coaching companies have, almost every single one of them have kind of come in line with this, is like a CMA a day. Like a task you can do is, you know, make sure that you're sending out a CMA every day.
Are those emailed or are they?
Yes. However you can get them out, the better. I've tried it both ways. It depends on the people, how they like to get stuff. And again, I always say whatever's easiest to get it out there. You can get really complex with your CMAs, doing like flyovers using Google Maps. You know, I've done it different ways and both ways have worked. So a print one, just going into Bright, just pulling a very simple CMA.
Right.
Usually about 12 comps. I won't focus on too huge of an area. And I'm not there to really price their property, right? I don't want to give them a price today. I just want to say like, hey, these are a couple properties that are similar to yours that have sold in the last year, right? I've seen your marketplace go up a lot. Like I don't tell them your house is worth 560, right? Because tomorrow their house is gonna be worth like 570. So you lowballed them, right? Like, but I'll just show them, sometimes what I'll do is like, hey, there's like 2 new homes that came on the market this week. Like, we'll be interested to see, because these are like 20,000 over the last comp. It'd be interesting to see what these settle for. Right.
You said you like 12 comps, 12
Yeah, about
different
12.
comps.
Yeah. Like, no, anything less than that, then sometimes the data just isn't great. Anything more than that, it's just overwhelming.
There's something called RPR.
Yep.
But I think they do that. But I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
RPRs.
What's that there?
Yeah,
What? I don't
RPR
know.
will actually spit out a number though. And I found that RPR, Zillow, and Redfin, all their automated valuation programs are probably about anywhere from 0 to 10% low. So you may be handing someone some data that's low and they may like, well, this says my house is worth 570. My neighbor just sold for 590, right? Like Athalia doesn't know what she's talking about, right? Like, so that's where I don't nail a price. With the CMAs though, the CMAs do require a phone call afterwards because some people, it's a very technical document, right? In a sense, right? Like why am I getting comps from this agent, right? Or my friend, right? Like, I just don't know why. And it's good to have that conversation. Hey, I sent you a CMA. Just want to make sure you got it. See if you had any questions. Well, we're not selling our house anytime soon. Well, I get that. Some people need them for, if you need one for like your tax assessment, when your tax assessment comes out, or if your guys are going to refinance, and then also like I've had clients ask me about what improvements should they make? What's going to bring value? So I kind of turn the conversation to something totally different than just pricing and that they think I'm there just to list their house, which I'll get it someday, but I don't need it today.
Yeah.
For example, I have to replace my windows.
Yep.
And it's a high ticket item, which I didn't realize until they said. Should I or should I not?
Replace your windows?
It's a pretty, kind of, again, Ken,
Oh.
to the topic we were talking about. Is that something, if I were to sell my property?
Well, you got a room for all real estate agents. Why don't you ask them? What do y'all think? Like when y'all show properties, replace windows, what do y'all think? Adds value?
Depending on how they look. Depends how bad they look. Yeah, really bad. Yeah, I would recommend it. That's a problem. I've had people who look for the windows, who look for that.
I do too, by the way.
Yeah, I do too. Of course, I sold my house with the oldest windows.
Yeah. Are they fogged?
Well, yeah, I mean, some seal.
Yep.
Gone, some are kind of warped. And if I go with the, brand name, Anderson, 400, 20 windows with installation, 50,000.
Yeah.
Even for my personal home, and I'm debating, should I go with kind of less expensive option, which are half as much, or go with the quality, or
Depends
make.
if you're gonna answer that notice letters that you yourself.
No, my point is,
That's where.
I'm not gonna take my home, wherever I go, 20 years from now, even when I die, this type of windows with, the quality and the brand name, they, I guess, recapture the value when time comes to sell the property. My point. Not necessarily I'm planning to sell my house and, recoup the price that
Yep.
I will be investing in the windows. So this is kind of, my personal preference, how much to spend, what quality of windows should I be picking?
A lot of people, who
Yeah.
look for the windows, like you said, perhaps they know the brand out there. If it's, Pella, Anderson, perhaps they are willing to pay $10,000 more. If there are 40 windows or doors.
So Elodie, your parents have done some flips. What's your take on it?
I mean, if the windows look like fogged and stuff, I feel like a lot of the time people like automatically look for cosmetics of a home before they start like nitpicking at like certain stuff within the home, like it's a new HVAC, it's this new laundry, or whatever. So it's like, cause I mean, when you look out a window, you wanna see what's outside the window, so, I'd say that like if it's like fogged up and stuff, then yeah, like you wanna replace the window, or if it looks like pretty banged up, we'll usually typically replace the window.
So if someone said, well, it's a Thompson Creek or it's a
Window Nation.
Anderson window, right? Like, do you have clients who ever say like, oh, we'll definitely put in a better offer because it's got better windows?
No, I mean, a lot of, well,
I'm- I'm-
honestly,
Depends if it's a bike,
honestly,
Yeah,
though,
honestly though, yeah.
when we say,
Don't be dishonest with me.
when we say like, I've listed some of my parents' stuff and, I feel like by telling people, oh, it has new windows, new roof, new flooring, this and that, like, I feel like it adds more like value to them because it's like, oh, I don't have to worry about the roof for another 10 years. I don't have to worry about the windows for another X amount of years. So whenever I talk to people, I like to emphasize those certain points and be like, this is a renovated home. Like it's move-in ready. You don't have to worry about those stuff. So.
Yeah. So I think, my opinion when it comes to the quality of the windows, I don't think it really matters as much. I think probably the getting over the cosmetics of a fog window absolutely needs to be replaced. But as far as going a little lower quality,
Nobody's gonna notice, honestly. As long as you can like see out the window, nobody cares.
Even for the house that you live in, do you think it's worth spending 40,000 versus 40,000? As long as you get new windows, how much money you can save on energy by having, quality windows. Not much, right? You will never be able to recoup all the money
Yeah.
that you are putting in now.
Yeah.
It's your decision. What are you gonna, how
No,
are you gonna
no,
sleep
that-
at night?
I
Are you
am
gonna sleep
serious.
better with $50,000 windows? Get the $50,000.
No, the thing is, I am facing that dilemma. Yesterday alone, I went to Goody Drive, there is Anderson dealership, and I got price code. And I know another location who gives us, better deal. I have account with them, and price half as much. Perhaps still, the low end, lesser than half. But this is for my house, what to do. I am not able to make the decision as of now. So I'm just,
Yeah.
getting your opinion. What do you think would be a good idea for me? No matter what type of window I install, that will easily last for 10 plus years without fogging it.
I think it also depends on like what kind of style windows you want
Just a
to.
plain double hung.
Oh, then yeah.
Yeah, because again, I look at like, look, if you called me in to list your house and you installed these windows 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and you told me, well, we spent twice as much to get these windows over the others, I would literally like force my eyes not to roll, right? Like I'd have to be like, look you straight in the face and say, wow, that's great. I hope you enjoyed them. It would be hard for me to justify putting a higher price on for the windows as time goes. I think if you were like, you're about to list the house now and you were going to make an improvement that you felt was going to be like really wow someone right now, like I'm getting brand new top of the line windows, maybe. But if you, I think lasting value, I think they would, that luxury window, let's call it, would depreciate a lot quicker than the regular window.
So it helps me a lot. And this is the serious situation that, dilemma I'm facing right now.
And these are questions your clients ask you all the time. I mean, hopefully this is what they will ask you a lot of. That's when you know you're doing a good job, that they feel like comfortable enough to ask you these questions. Roofing, you get this question a lot.
Yeah.
Sometimes converting a carport into a garage. Do we put a deck on? Do we put a patio on? Do we use Trex over pressure treated lumber?
Yeah.
These are the type of things that hopefully you'll get a lot of questions about. So it's good to kind of be up to speed and
Yeah.
have start thinking about what your opinions are on this.
Hmm.
And that's a really good one. Do I replace the windows or not? You know?
You know, I'm the only one who's kind of, stopping here, just to add fuel to the fire. Last year, I added patio, stone, flat
Yep.
stone patio, about 700 square feet in the back. And the terrain of my backyard is kind of, steep hill, I would say. So it took a lot of resources to build that. And I knew I was not going to get money back when time comes to sell the property. But I did it anyway because I wanted to enjoy the property while I am there. So it's different thing. But windows, yeah, we all will face down the road, our potential client will ask, hey, should I change this? Should I change that? And to my clients, I would be, without thinking, I would be advising to go with replacing windows, but not necessarily expensive windows, brand windows.
Yeah.
And I do the same. But when it comes to make the decision for yourself, it's kind of a little difficult. But now I got help.
Yeah.
I'm not going with that person. Seriously.
Okay. All right. All right. So that's really the 33 touches, right? Like we went through that, the 16 mailers or 12. And then these different types of touches. And I'm giving you guys kind of another range of other options for mailers. So this is a pretty, so this is the passive side of the marketing. And then the next is permission call. So they've got this permission call dialogue. I don't necessarily love this one as much as I love this one. So in your supplemental package, this is the Brian Buffini mayor campaign. So basically it's, oh, by the way, if you were buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, do you have an agent you would refer them to? And then you close your mouth and let them answer, right? Right, so if response is yes, meaning they already have someone they'd refer, then your reply is, that's great. It's important to have qualified professionals work with. That's the point. Okay, that's the point. Now you know who you don't need to invest your time and resources into. If their answer is, well, no, I don't have anyone to refer to, well, I'd like to be that person from time to time. And basically it lays out, from time to time, I'd like to send you items of value and keep in touch with you. Would that be okay? Where should I send it to? So this is a really good, once you start, and again, I always encourage folks, like, get some marketing going, like, especially after you sent your announcement cards, maybe you send another mailer after that, or emailed something. It's good to touch base, like, hey, I sent you my announcement card, just want to let you know what I'm doing. I hope you're doing well, and then this is kind of, oh, by the way, like near the end of the call, like, hey, do you have anyone who, if you were going to buy real estate or you knew someone who was, would I be that person you'd use, or would I be the person you'd refer out? Well, what's referral mean? I don't get it. What do you mean? Like, and it gives you an opportunity to have a conversation, right? Like, because some people like literally think that like you get a paycheck every 2 weeks from Remax, like they just don't get it, right? And they don't know that you can actually help other people. You can sell homes like outside of Alney, right? You can sell homes outside of Montgomery County. You can sell new homes. You can sell investment properties. You can help refer them to someone in North Carolina. So it just opens up that conversation. Far too often, I find that people gather their list. They do a really good job gathering their list of names and people in their database, but then they never really ask the hard question, which is, would you even use me, right? And They will sometimes ask you for information, but like I was telling Margie earlier, there's situations where they rely on you. They think that you're a professional, but their brother-in-law is a real estate agent. They're going to use him. They're asking you because he's not a very good real estate agent. So they're asking you all this information. You assume you got the listing, right? When they sell, and then they list with the brother-in-law. You don't know why, because he's got a different last name, why they listed with this guy. And you're mad at them, right? You're mad at the world, right? Like, but if you'd only ask that question, right? Like, would I be the person you'd use or refer people to? And said, no, my brother-in-law's in the business, right? Like, you would have known 2 years ago before you invested a bunch of money and time in them. So I encourage you guys, like, get, as you get your marketing out there, this dialogue is going to really help.
Two instances where they picked an agent because he said, "Oh, I would have called you, but this is an expert in my neighborhood."
Yep.
Really? Wow.
How would
And
you
it's just
respond to that?
Because they marketed it.
Mhm.
There was somebody who they marketed and they've seen their signs in the neighborhood.
How would you respond to like an answer like that? Like, they're an expert in my.
I got mad and walked away.
So in that particular situation, they'd already made a decision. So that's one, it can be sometimes hard to, undo. But if it was, let's say it was, hey, Margie, I'm interviewing you and another agent. We're looking at this agent because they are the neighborhood expert.
That's how they see it.
There's a couple ways to handle that. I mean, I'll throw out to you guys. How would you guys handle it? Someone says, well, I'm going with them because, or I'm considering them because they're the neighborhood expert. Okay.
Yeah, that's a really good question.
So they've,
Why do you think that way?
okay, yeah. So they've sold 25 homes in our neighborhood. How many of you sold? Okay, all right. So that may not have worked. But it's good to ask questions, right? Like, just find out, like, what basis, because they may not have sold any homes in their neighborhood, but they just email and they may be just marketing, right?
Maybe like,
Okay.
maybe like depending on like what kind of home it is, like if you've done like those types of home before, then you can say like, oh, I've sold this kind of homes before and X, Y, Z, whatever.
Okay. Yep. So instead of location, you sold like kind, right?
The same style home.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is out loud now. Because I just thought I could say that I give them all their personal attention and I'll contact that agent and let them know that we're listing this house and if they have buyers, we can look. But meanwhile, I can give them all the personal attention.
Okay. Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's where it's like, again, when you're in agents, and we have really good agents in here who run up against this all the time. There's always an agent who maybe is doing more business, right? Who has 10 more sales than them that year. So, kind of the bigger is better mentality sometimes doesn't always work for you, no matter how big or small you are. So then it gets into what are your other advantages for them? You just mentioned one, which is like, I'm more personal attention, right? Kind of quality. Elodie, it's not necessarily location, it's property type. And I have more experience with this property type. Other thoughts?
Probably referral as well. Neighbors are referring, I mean, if there's,
That's true.
yeah,
That's
How do you mean? Say that again?
referral. If a referral, maybe the neighbors are referring the same agent, oh, he saw he lives
Yeah.
in my house, or.
I mean, I'd love it if that happened to me, if I sold the whole neighborhood. So, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, and I look at it like I put it in, and again, I look at our business as we're professionals, right? I want to elevate us above just the kind of the old school, some of the real estate mentality. And that is like, sure, they may have sold more in the neighborhood, but like when you go out to pick a doctor, do you pick the doctor who's just closest to your house, or do you pick the doctor who's going to provide the best service and quality of care? right? Like the way I look at my business is I'm here to provide the best quality of care for you and to make sure you get what you want, regardless of location.
Yeah, and if it's like a listing type, I guess you would also like talk about like your own marketing campaigns, like showing the value in that. Like maybe
Yep.
bring like concrete numbers, because a lot of people like to see the numbers and see like how that impacts their listing.
Yeah, and you'll see in this, a lot of the momentum, like in some of the closes that we'll use in this, a lot of it is like, well, let me just come over and can I at least give you show you what I do? At the end of the day, you might gather some valuable information and stick with that agent and maybe use some of that to sell your home for more money. And I'd love to see that happen. I want you to be successful, and so what's it hurt to just have me over for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, right? Like, it's kind of like what do you have to lose, right? To kind of try to keep that door open with your folks. My battery's about to die. Yeah. All right. I don't need it anyways here soon. Okay. So the mayor campaign, anyone want to try it?
Like reading it?
Yeah.
Oh, I could read it.
Okay.
Which one is that?
Just the top one.
Okay. Oh, by the way, if you were buying or selling a home or had a friend or family member who was, do you have an agent you would refer them to?
Okay. Good job.
Wow, thank you.
So a lot of this is just getting comfortable with these dialogues. I've heard this dialogue over and over again so many times that it just becomes easier. And it's hard to kind of get into some dialogues if you've never ever said them before. So sometimes it is good, like if you have a partner, someone who you work with in the business, or even me, like I'll do role play with you all day long if you want to. And I won't be nice and easy on you, or I will be, depending on what you need. But it's good just to get comfortable with these, right? They become a lot easier to use. Okay. Next is, we're on page 10, is setting up. So again, creating the list of names. I gave you all the memory jogger. Next step is, starting to make your, and actually I kind of changed this around, starting to make your marketing out to them, because I find the call is really easy once you've had some marketing in front of them. Hey, did you get my card? Right? It just, no, we didn't. Or, part of it is there's that norm of reciprocity. If I give you something, you feel like you have to give me something back in return. And if I've given you a card or some type of mailing, and let's say I didn't fully accept it, or even if I did, like I owe you at least another 10 seconds on the phone to not slam the phone in your ear. The other thing is this 8 and 8 campaign. But before we get into that, real quick, one of the things that when this program was developed that's happened since then has been social media, right? Social media has definitely expanded our reach with our referral database. Again, it's like a cocktail party, right? You don't want to go to a cocktail party like just pimping out your real estate wares all over the place. It's social, right? So to be in social environment, like you need to have some stuff up there. You need to push some stuff out to be able to have permission to push out some business. But social media does a lot of great things for your business. Again, I tell people, like, stay away from the politics, right? Because I can guarantee that 50% of the people do not agree with you on your politics. And, there's 50% of the people who absolutely agree with you. So stay away from politics. It doesn't go anywhere. Be positive, because sometimes that's what people need. They want your positivity. They, and again, I want to hire people to work for me who are positive, who are forward thinking, who are sometimes thinking outside the box, who aren't negative. And and I've seen agents on social media like bitch about clients, and I'm like, and I've had clients, I've seen the stream, and I've seen people like, it wasn't me who did that, right? Like, and now like you just potentially made a client feel bad, and maybe you had, and maybe made someone feel bad who really like wasn't even involved with it, right? So be careful with how you post, right? About work. Are you guys using social media at all? Yes.
Using it just to post my beautiful photos.
Okay. All right.
Well, I'm trying not to put anything business on my person. I mean, I will when I get a listing or something. I'll
Yep.
put something on it, but not.
I think it's a good idea to open up separate account for the business, as a realtor, for example.
Yeah. And, and with your business account, because there is accounting and tracking in your business side, I will share stuff to my personal page when I see it fits well, right? It's a nice property. Maybe it is something that I think is a little stickier. I'll put on my personal account that is business. Yeah.
Business account.
Yep. But you do, if you post enough, you will have, in a sense, permission to put some business on there. But it just has to be balanced. Like, and I always say like a 90-10 rule, right? Like 10% business, 90% social.
That's what I've been told is be personal, do your personal thing, but toss in a little bit. It's like I visited 3 open houses today or worked with
Yep.
some buyers, just kind of not in your face, just it's just like having dinner with the family. I went out and did this with buyers, or but it kind of just introduces that's. But it's a person.
So I don't know if you guys are getting like random calls. I'm getting them and they're like creepy. Yeah, like on Saturday I was doing some filming with Maria and there was this guy calling me from WhatsApp. Like I didn't even know that it was a FaceTime. So until she told me, she was like, oh, it's a FaceTime. I was like, oh, hi. I thought it was someone who wanted, to ask about real estate. And he was like drinking. And he was like, cheers, I'm coming for you. What?
Oh,
No.
That's fine.
Right. And she was like, Erica, give it up. And I was like, oh my God, what was that? So, and I brought him right away. And it's not only him, it's like at 11:30 at night, 1 o'clock. So I'm like, okay, what's going on? Am I supposed to do something?
Are they calling or FaceTime?
They're calling and FaceTime.
That's so.
That's why I mean, it's something new and that's really good.
You don't know how to.
Oh, my number is, everywhere. If you Google my name and if you Google yours, I'm sure that's how they're
Yeah.
getting. Yeah, so.
I'll just get like the random phone calls asking about this and that, but like not FaceTime calls like that.
Yeah, it's FaceTime.
Yeah, that's
Yeah, so have that happened before with any other agent, Joe, or?
Vicky Reyes gets letters from jail.
And I thought about
Is that
it,
right?
she did mention.
Yes.
So.
Yeah.
what kind of letters?
Do you want to read them?
Actually, what?
Yeah, because he
Oh
was
my
drinking and then he started saying, hi, Erica, my name is blah, blah, blah.
I
And
find you on WhatsApp.
yeah. And then, he was drinking and he cheers, I'm coming for you.
Coming for you.
Yeah,
That's scary.
so,
Yeah, like on a safety note, I'd report stuff like that, report it to Facebook, report it to WhatsApp.
I block him right away.
Yeah.
I'm blocking them.
Yeah, I'd report them too, like, and
Yeah.
usually with Facebook, when you report something, it then gives you the option to block right after
So
that.
I searched the area code and it's from Manhattan, New York. Yeah.
I know the business page. You have a button for WhatsApp. And then you call you.
That's how you call me, yeah.
For Facebook on the button.
Oh, well, I don't know. Yeah. So, I was just wondering if you guys are getting.
Not me.
All right.
But yeah, I mean, it's there, again, that's, I guess, some of the negative part of it is when you are out there, you're
Yeah.
findable, but I think you're findable regardless.
Mhm.
Yeah. All right. Okay. And then the last part of this is if you are looking at doing, this is like an 8 and 8 program. This is an old school Hobbs Herder. Oh, this is page 11. It's an old school Hobbs Herder program. Basically, it's 8 mailings in 8 weeks to create top of mind awareness. So Hobbs Herder did a study where they went into a marketplace. There was no market share by any one agent. And then they created this fake agent and started marketing to this area using this eight mailers and 8-week program. And they were able to get this fake agent top of mind awareness. You know, it's old school. But again, what I'd tell you is you can pull out of this if you're looking for content for some of your postcards or for some of your posts. There is some stuff in here that talks about, you know, kind of listing strategies, what your listing strategies are. And I'm big on, and it almost like to a certain extent, like each of these postcards is almost like I look at like a video. I've kind of transitioned a lot of my content away from written word into video, just because I find that people are digesting video so much more now. And you can combine the two. If you use a program like rev.com, you can shoot a video and basically for like, I think it's 25 cents a minute, it will transcribe your video. So 3-minute video, 75 cents. And it'll just take everything out. You can copy your transcription and put it into your post. So you can have your video, then also have a kind of written communication with it. Rev.com. Yep. And I used to shoot video and then I would write the content after the video. Right. And then the writing the content would take me like an hour to kind of like bang it out. Now what I'm doing is I'm doing this Rev. And I'm modifying the content, the written word, because sometimes when we talk, I use so, I use like a lot more than I ever thought I did. Able to chop that stuff out and then also put it in bullets, right? Because I find that we can read bullets a lot easier when you have a topic, when you have a point you really want to make. It allows you to kind of like get it right there, get it right there, get it right there. Usually, how many points do I make? 3, yes.
This is what I learned today.
Yeah. So
3 bullets.
again, just this is stuff you can look at and kind of think about content that you want to put in here.
So you describe what you are shooting while you're taking video. Okay, this is the house with 5 bedrooms, 4 attached, for example. You keep kind of, describing on video that will get transcribed into text. And you have option to go back and edit and remove your like.
Yep. Yeah, typically the videos that I'm shooting that I use Rev for are more of my FAQ process related. I want to explain why you should get a clue report on every home, right? I'll do a video, I'll walk through the 3 reasons why you need to get a clue report, and then I'll go to Rev, get that transcription, put it into the body of, let's say, the YouTube video or the Facebook post, and then edit out, edit it so it's a lot easier to read.
Is there RAV?
REV.com.
Special camera, you see it on your phone?
I use my iPhone for
Oh, okay.
99% of my videos.
So you did opt to send a card.
Uh-huh.
But something, I like the video, you can't, if you don't know their email right off the bat or something, but then you could use a QR code and attach the video to it if they want
QR codes are awesome. I mean, I think it was one of these technologies that came out like 6 years ago, and it was like just kind of fell flat on its face. Like I'd much rather take a brochure. Now everyone's used to using them. Yeah.
Yeah, and you mentioned on Tuesday's call,
Yeah.
like that.
Blink.
Yeah, Blink. That's pretty cool. I didn't
Yeah.
even know that was a thing.
Yeah. So Blink is basically, so like on they created like a QR code. So just someone, if I meet someone new, just, turn on your camera and then it'll put your contact into their phone. They just have to accept your contact. But it's got all my contact information. It's basically like it's giving your contact to someone. Yeah.
So you just show your screen
Yep.
to another individual and that would have to take the photo.
Yep. They just put their camera on it.
Like many of these days.
Yep.
You go to restaurant, they have that QR code,
Yes.
to take photo. And
Sure. I think that was it. And then, let's see what time. Okay, so the last thing I've got at the last page of the packet I gave you. This is just something to start thinking about. This is the last page of the supplemental. So this is, I don't know what to say, right? These are what we call unique selling propositions. And there's really, with the unique selling propositions, the formula is there's a problem. Here's what I do to solve it. There's an opportunity. Here's what I do to make sure my clients take advantage of that opportunity. And what you'll find as you work with clients more often, you'll find that they present you problems and then you create solutions for them, right? Which is wonderful. That's like where the magic happens in real estate. What happens is that audience that happens just between us two, right? Like you solve a problem that thousands of home buyers have, but it was only shared with one person, right? So being able to share those solutions with other people is great. But being better at and understanding how that works, these are these unique selling propositions. So what's a problem sellers are facing in today's market? What's a problem buyers are facing in today's market? What's going on with home values? And then how do you as an agent solve the problems of today's home buyers and home sellers? So give me a problem sellers are facing.
No inventory to buy after they sell.
Okay, no inventory. So Kim, if seller had a problem with no inventory, how would you help them solve that? So, sorry, no inventory to buy after they,
Yeah,
okay,
nothing to do after they sell.
yeah. So I'm a seller who's a move up seller, got a house to sell, I want to buy something. How would you solve that problem?
Look for Frisco's, right?
Okay,
I'd be on something.
okay,
I have one, like maybe seller rent back, because since it's more of like a seller's market, I guess.
Okay.
Maybe you can negotiate that into the deal while they're looking
Okay.
for a new home. or
Okay.
the process of one.
cool, yeah. So seller rent backs, looking for off-market properties, which is a fabulous, awesome one. Other things for sellers who need this, like that move up seller. Well, again, those are two great ones, right? Like, so, and that, how that comes about is, so Elodie has the problem. So, well, you know how there are sellers who want to sell and move up. They've got the townhome, they want to go to the nice big single family. Well, the problem they're facing is that they just can't, they can sell their home, they can't find that next home. What we do is two things. We find off-market properties for our clients. That can be a for sale by owner, new home construction, expired withdrawn property, rental properties that are coming out of the rental pool. Other things we do is we find them long-term rent backs. So we get their home under contract, and then we provide like a shopping period. Sometimes we can do a home of choice. Sometimes we do a long rent back. So we give them options that they know they'll get this for their house. They can go shopping. So that's where, in these unique selling props, it's good to have these things kind of in your back pocket. What do you guys see as a problem buyers are facing? Low inventory. Okay, similar situation we just saw. Okay, higher prices. Okay, what are you guys doing to solve the higher price problem? What's that? Bidding high. Okay.
Getting it in quick, tell them not to wait too long,
Okay. So you're
waiving inspections.
you're right. Yep. So terms, right? So in a negotiation, contract negotiation, you have two things. You have price negotiation, and then you have terms negotiating. They go along at the same time, but and again, sometimes it's like, okay, the problem is the prices are going up, right? But sometimes I've seen ones where the highest price didn't win it.
So, right there.
Well, this
They
one
had
had better,
terms.
yeah, the other offer had better terms. It was kind of close in price, but it had really strong terms. So in that situation, the price, what we're finding with buyers is that prices are going up a lot. What we're doing to solve that is making sure our buyers have, and I've got a list of 9 terms that will win offers. So I work with my buyers on working on the terms to see if we can try to have better terms than maybe even a higher priced offer. And it can work. Would you be interested? Yeah. Yeah. It's a dangerous list, but I always tell people like, look, like this, if I gave this to you list, like if I gave this list to you like 6 years ago, you'd sue me, right? For like malpractice. But it's what you got to do to win offers in this market. It talks about like gap appraisals or no appraisal, walk and talk inspection or no inspection, super high EMDs, waiving the HOA period. You really can't, but what you can do is say your deposit is non-refundable if we walk on HOA. So that's where it's, as you walk through this, what you always want to do is kind of have these unique selling propositions in your back pocket, because what happens is you're at Starbucks and someone sees you with your Remax pin on, they see you with your laptop with your Remax button on it. They're like, oh, you're in real estate. What's going on with the market? All right. And what you always want to ask is, are you looking to buy, sell, rent, or invest? Right. Because you need to find out, because what happens, have you guys been in those situations? People ask you what's going on with the real estate market.
Yes.
No. And what do you normally say? You do? Good. Good. Yeah. What'd you say before?
I would try to just
It's-
jump in there and,
It's crazy
it's
busy.
hot or, the
Yeah.
seller's market.
It's crazy.
And now I find out
Yeah.
first where they're at.
Yeah. Right. Because we normally give them our like, literally like we just got done like getting our teeth kicked in a contract. We're like, it sucks. It sucks bad. Right. Like, well, it sucks bad for your buyer this last 5 minutes, but like that's where you just need to balance it out and then present them these problems and then explain how you solve them. Because that's what you always want to do is connect with the consumer. The consumer doesn't give a shit about you and how you do. They care about how you're going to help them get, and there's a great book. It's blanking on the name, but it talks a lot about how we shoot video, and it talks about that similar thing. And it's like you're not the Luke Skywalker of your real estate transaction. You're Yoda, right? Meaning that you're the sage guide who helps the client along get what they want. They are the Luke Skywalker, right? They're the hero in this story. Your job is to help provide them tools and resources to get what they want. So if you think about your messaging, like, and using this formula helps a lot. All right. Questions? All right. Next,